Oh, welcome back. Just wanted to stop in a little spot, small river with a bridge on it. It's only about 5 minutes, 5 or 6 minutes from my house, so it's really close. It's one of my favorite little spots to stop in. It's a dynamite spot for panfish, sunfish, bluegill, crappies, rock bass, things like that. But there's also so many other fish in a place like this. So they're always a dynamite fish attractor, always something worth stopping at. It's a bright sunny day, it's lunchtime, it's the hottest it's going to be all day, and there's tons of shade here. There's all kinds of structure and reasons for these fish to be here. That's the main reason I'm here. There's fish. I got about a half an hour. I want to get a couple of fish in, so I thought I'd share a few tips and tricks with you. So what I'm starting with, I've got a 9-foot rod. Now, I like using an ultralight rod for small fish, but a 9-foot rod is useful for a specific reason in a place like this. If I used a 5-foot ultralight, I'd have a hard time controlling that line. Using a 9-foot rod, I can just dabble it in close with a lot of control. I can flip it out a lot easier. Maybe not so much in the weed. It just gives me that extra bit of control. It also gives me a lot more flexibility with the type of line I'm using. I'm using a 4-pound test monofilament, a very light line. So this rod, being the size that it is going to absorb a lot of that shock that a 5-foot rod just won't be able to handle. So if I do hook a larger fish, there are some larger bass and pike, there's monster carp in here. I know that having this setup, even though it's light line, this longer rod's going to give me the shock absorption that I need to be able to play a big fish in. That's what we're here for today, little panfish. Just thought I'd stop in at a local spot. Little sunfish. It's a lot of traffic as well. The disadvantage of fishing under a bridge is that you're going to have the traffic. The advantage, though, is that you can get lots of little fish like that, and it's tremendous fun. Now, what I'm using is I've got a little pencil float, just a few split shot and a small swivel just to help with the tangles, and then right there 2 rubber maggots on a very tiny hook. It's one of my favorite little baits. I'm not a fan of using live worms and stuff like that. It's just simply because I don't like dealing with the mess. They're dynamite fish catchers, but they're sloppy. All I'm doing is I'm casting my little bait out there, letting it drift with the current into where the structure is, where those fish are waiting. I'm just giving it little twitches, just something for them to pick up, so that they know there's something going on. Oh, there's a bite. Missed that one. This is a heavily pressured spot. There's a lot of people that fish here. so it's not necessarily the easiest place to catch a fish. But it's a fun spot. I've got the spot to myself as it is midday. So a lot of people have already packed up and gone home. Spots like this are great places to bring kids, or if you're like me, just coming out for a half an hour to catch a couple of fish before you have to be somewhere else. Excellent spot. Now, don't forget, cast under the bridge. Get right into where that structure is. I can actually see some of them moving around. There's a fish. Little bluegill. Panfish are a wonderful thing to fish for, that unfortunately, once we hit adulthood and we start getting those larger fish and having more fun, really going after the trophies, we tend to ignore. And we really shouldn't, because I have to say I enjoy catching panfish just as much now as I did as a youngster. Let's get in there and get another one. Lots of stumps and things like that under the bridge. Definitely want to make sure that I'm working my bait as close to them as I can to draw those fish out. Another little sunfish. That one really hard. Another nice little bluegill. I know it's hard to see. I've got a little bit of shade where I am. They're not monsters, but it's so much fun to be able to get out and enjoy a little bit of this. When I've only got a short time. There's better fish. Scrapper. These aren't huge fish, but sometimes using even just a small net. This is my son's butterfly net. Can be very, very helpful. Just help keeping those fish safe. Another beautiful bluegill. Let's get him back. He's back. He's biting again. There we go. Got him that time. Another bluegill. Beautiful little fish. It's really hard to appreciate their colors when I don't have them out in the sun, but what a wonderful little fish. And you can catch these all day long in spots like this. This is a very pressured spot. There's a lot of people that fish here. The next bridge down, just downstream a little ways, there's 4 vehicles there. There's people fishing all over the bridge. I never would have gotten close to that spot. Just up the road a little bit, and there's nobody here. This spot is a little bit tighter to fish, so maybe that's why people are staying away. But there's tons of fish here. Well, whenever you can get the chance, you know, stop at these little spots, whatever's in your local area, small bridges, you know, stumps and, you know, lily pads and things like that. They're in small creeks. Don't forget, use smaller tackle, small floats, tiny baits, little hooks. But don't necessarily go with those shorter rods. Like I said, I used a 9-foot rod today, and I never would have had the control, the sweeping effect for setting the hook with such light line with a shorter rod. So, you know, ultralight gear doesn't mean that it's ultra tiny. It just means that it's lighter action. So, you know, use that tip, and hopefully that'll catch you a few more fish.